Hello, thank you for joining me. So in this video is going to complete our model of our meter base, and what we're doing is we're putting together a simple model, a simple assembly of a electronic meter, and what we're working on is the base. And what I'd like to do in this video is put in some of our mounting tabs on the side and show you how to use the linear pattern. We used the circular pattern once. We're going to use the linear pattern. Actually, we used the circular pattern twice, both in the meter base and the meter cap. But we're going to use the linear pattern here, and we're going to use a mirror feature too, the mirror feature, which is pretty handy too. So let's do this. What we're going to be doing is we're going to put in some tabs on the side. We're going to do one tab with one whole wizard hole, and then we're going to do a linear pattern down the side, and then we're going to mirror it to the other side. So let's go ahead and turn our model around. Let's choose this as our sketching surface. This time let's go to corner rectangle. And let's pick that edge and draw that rectangle out. So now we have a coincident relationship here. And because that's a horizontal line, it's going to stay there, but we do have a lot of flexibility with that rectangle, as you see. Let's go ahead and put in some dimensions. Let's make that 15 millimeters. We'll make it 15 millimeters off the top. We'll make it 30 millimeters wide. And in regard to deep, let's go ahead and make that 25 millimeters. So you should have a tab that looks something similar to that. In regard to our extrusion on that, let's go ahead and make that about 7 millimeters wide. Now, a lot of these things would be like sheet metal features. We're just trying to put together a simple model here, but it doesn't stop you from adding these features as a sheet metal object, if you like, a sheet metal part. And I would also say that when we get to the assembly here, if you want to add some additional elements to this to make it a more of a true model of what it's trying to represent, add more features to it, you're welcome to do that. But right now we're just going to do the simple stuff. So features, we're going to do an extrude boss base. We're going to reverse the direction on that, make that 7 millimeters, and bang, we're done. What we'd like to do with our we're going to do a hole wizard here next. We're going to do a very similar hole wizard here where we have a slotted screw, so that we're going to make it so it's got a countersink to it, so the screw is kind of flush with the surface. We'll go to hole wizard. It's going to remember that 6 millimeter screw parameter that we put in there, but this time we're going to choose M8 rather than M6. And we're going to choose all the other settings, and we're going to keep the same as they were before. Go to positions. We're going to click on this surface. And we really don't have any reference geometry in here, so what we're going to do, we'd like to have it in the center, or somewhere close to the center. We're going to kind of put it off to the side and exaggerate it a little bit. While we're still in the sketch function in here, let's go ahead and draw some additional sketch elements in here to put in some reference geometry. I do want this point to be on that line, but I don't necessarily want it to have it in the middle of that block. What I want to do is have it probably 12 millimeters, a little bit less than half from the front. 12 and a half would make it just about half. And that would do it. So you notice that the center line is black, the point is black, it's fully defined, and I still have not left my hole wizard over here. So you have the ability to add additional stuff when you add additional sketch elements when you're in the hole wizard. But the only thing hole wizard is really looking for is not looking for dimensions or anything else, it's just looking for points. You could draw in circles in here, lines, underdefined. It'll show it as being underdefined, but when you go ahead and do the green check mark in this thing, it's going to ignore all that stuff. And of course, if you go in here, it shows it as being underdefined. So let's go ahead and just erase these things. We don't really need them, but just to show you that the hole wizard only takes into consideration the points you put in there. So there's our tab, there's our hole. Let's go ahead and rename these. We'll call that our tab, or mounting tab perhaps, and we'll keep that the nomenclature as it is with the hole wizard hole. Well, let's go ahead and do our linear pattern. Let's go to linear pattern. First thing it's asking for is direction. So what you need to do is just pick on an edge or some sketch geometry of a line perhaps. So we're going to click on that, and you'll notice that when we do click on that edge, we get an arrow down here. You take that arrow and click on it and change its direction. You can go up here and do the very same thing. So sometimes you can make modifications to this in the user interface, or you can go over here to the properties manager and do the same thing here too. So let's do this. With our spacing, let's go ahead and Let's put in our spacing of maybe, and we can play around with this a little bit. What we want is 4 instances in here. We could change our instances in here and do it that way. We can change our spacing and go in here into this little dialog box that you see out here. You can use the interface, or we can do everything in here too if you like. So direction 2, we're not going to choose the direction 2. Features to pattern. Let's go ahead and click on that and click on the last 2 features, our mounting tab and our hole wizard hole. And now we can get a preview of this, and if we want to make additional updates in this, we can do that here. So let's type in maybe 120 millimeters and see how that looks. Looks like it's a little bit top heavy, so maybe 170, 180. 170 looks good. And if you like that, you can right click, go to OK, or go over here to our Properties Manager and go to the green check mark. So now we have that in place. Is our linear pattern. We can call that mounting hole linear pattern, a mounting hole pattern. Actually, mounting tab pattern. And let's do our mirror command. The mirror command is also underneath the linear pattern. I have it up here in my command manager. I just have a lot of stuff up here that I use a lot. I customize my toolbars. Because of automation support services, they don't allow you to do that. They're in a CAD lab. So you might have to add that, or you can find it underneath your linear pattern. So do the pull down area on your linear pattern, go to mirror, and what it's looking for here is not a line now. Now that we're in 3D space here and we're dealing with features, it's actually looking for a plane. So if you rush your cursor over this, it's asking for a mirror face or plane. What we want to do, since we don't have our planes visible, let's go to our feature flyout, feature manager flyout. And let's go ahead and pick our right plane. Features to mirror. As long as we got our feature manager flyout here, let's go ahead and not necessarily choose our mounting tab. And this hole over here is all it's going to do is take this feature and mirror it onto the other side. But let's go ahead and do the mounting tab pattern over here. And not only will it do the pattern down here, these last 3, but it'll also include the seed pattern too. Now you see our yellow highlights over here. That's all we need. Go to green check mark, and bang, it's done. One last thing, let's go ahead and turn off our temporary axes. And now we have our meter base and our meter cap ready to insert into an assembly. So join me for the next film and we'll cover that.